I've not looked at our stretch past Saturday and Monday. I don't know it. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't know. Somebody said, they were flashing up some Big East schedule, next 5 games. I said, you can flash anybody's next 5 up, and their stomach starts to churn.
Welcome back to Irish Sports Report. Pete Byrne with Tom Noe and Carolyn Mano joins us now. Mike Ray is always good for a comment or two, usually on the funny side, but over the weekend, we got to see him a little bit more serious, a little bit more animated as it pertains to Luke Harangody, his best player.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. Normally he's good for a laugh, but we rarely see him get overly agitated or excited. There's a few things that get him going. One of those things is national recognition that he thinks Luke Harangody deserves for an outstanding performance so far this season.
Let's not even kid about this thing. And you know what pisses me off? That when they mention the National Player of the Year, he's like the second-tier guy. How in the hell is that possible? He is a top-tier National Player of the Year candidate. And the guys, the freaking guys that are picking these other guys, 2 or 3, I want to see their coaching records, or I want to see their playing stats, or I want to see them in workout gear. The last one could be pretty funny, quite frankly. Are you kidding me? This is machine-like, what he's doing.
It's hard to believe that there are those who don't consider Luke Harangody in the upper echelon of National Player of the Year candidates. In basketball's toughest conference, Harangody ranks #1 in scoring and in rebounding, currently averaging 4 points and 2 rebounds more than he did last season.
I hope we understand what we're seeing here. I mean, this is a really very special guy. Very, very special guy.
Harangody logged his 5th straight double-double and 2nd straight game with at least 30 points against Seton Hall on Saturday. Scary part is, he doesn't even think he had a good game.
I was a little frustrated that they weren't going in, but I just kept playing and things turned out positive.
So it's not your day at 30 and 16?
No, I looked at them and I'm just embarrassed I 8 for 23.
The offensive rebounding clinic he put on in the second half, well, I don't know if I've seen stuff like that. He got and it's not like those guys were 6'3" and couldn't jump. I mean, his will to chase down and get us other possessions were key, but I do think he's mature. He just keeps plugging, and he kind of laughs about it now instead of getting uptight.
And Tom, I know you have a lot to add to this conversation, but we just want to take a look at this quick graphic. I mean, this is unbelievable. Harangody is one of only 10 players who have averaged at least 20 points and 10 rebounds in a single season for a major school in the past 10 years. And if you look at the other guys in the 2010 club, it really puts his skill in perspective.
Pretty select company, Carolyn. I covered Troy Murphy when he was here at Notre Dame, and the numbers he is putting up are Troy Murphy-like, and he should be not only Big East Player of the Year, but I think National Player of the Year because of everything that he's expected to do. Everybody talks about Stephen Curry, and they say, well, Stephen Curry, Davidson wouldn't be good without Stephen Curry. Davidson still loses to Duke. Even with Stephen Curry, you take Luke Harangody out of the lineup. They don't beat Seton Hall. They don't beat DePaul. They probably don't play well against Texas. So he really is a one-man gang right now. Tom, let me ask you this. We hear about the East Coast bias in sports all the time. All the schools on the West Coast, the pro teams on the West Coast talk about that. Is there a Notre Dame bias in basketball because it's thought of so much as a football school?
I think so, absolutely. The players talk about it a little this week, but they say, when they're cornered, people always count them off because they say Notre Dame, that's a football school. Do they play basketball? When's the last time they went to the Final Four? So I think the players feel it, and I think the national media picks up on it and says, it's Notre Dame, they're a nice school, they've had some wins, but they really haven't done anything on a national scale like a Tyler Hansborough, like a Stephen Curry.
But I do think that Gray brings up a very good point that you kind of take advantage of Luke Harangody. I mean, he puts up these 30-point nights, and he's always good for a double-double, and you just kind of don't realize it until how special he is until he's gone.
Yeah, don't take it for granted. He's a phenomenal player. Let's talk about another guy who may have been underrated in his day. During halftime of the Seton Hall game, Notre Dame welcomes back Pat Garrity to campus, honored him during a special halftime ceremony. He is still 4th on the all-time scoring list at Notre Dame with some big names. He was the 1997 Big East Player of the Year. Spent 10 years in the NBA. We caught up with him yesterday.
Pat, welcome back to campus, and amazing reception by the fans there. Certainly fitting after the great career you had. What did that mean to you?
Oh, it was great. And the part that made it great was having my family here and having my son come to his first Notre Dame basketball game. And then just watching the video. I haven't seen any of those clips for a long time. And forgot I used to be able to even jump like that. And it wasn't high. So it was a lot of fun to see, and it means a lot to me that Notre Dame is taking the time to bring in former players and athletes to come back and have them be part of the athletics department.
Well, what do you remember most when you think back to your Notre Dame career? It was certainly a special one.
You know, I remember everything from that freshman year playing an independent schedule of great teams to, you know, when we first got into the Big East and how tough it was, and I think how we were a little bit unprepared for what we were going into, and then by the end, you know, slowly building up the program and all the Big East tournaments. And of course, the Big East Player of the Year was probably the high point of my career.
You were on the first ever Notre Dame team to play Big East basketball. Did you ever think you'd see the program grow so quickly to where it is now?
You know, I don't know. It's such a tough thing in college basketball with the competition, and in a league with the Big East now, where there are so many powerhouses, you can have a great group of talent and never do what these guys have been able to do. So, you know, it shows the kind of kids that are getting here, but it shows how Mike Bray's able to not only bring them in, but put a team together that can compete like they have.
Back when you were just a kid in Monument, Colorado, did you ever think you'd be standing here after a 10-year NBA career?
Not at all. So I'm gonna count my blessings on this one. It's great to be back, and it's great to have been able to play as long as I did.
And great to be retired. Look at the Stan. He's spending a lot of time on the golf course these days, huh? Nothing wrong with that. Not at all.
Not at all.
Like we indicated, another player who in his day was very underrated, but let's not forget what a great player he was. I don't know if there were any player that was tougher than Pat Garrity, night in and night out. The early stages of Notre Dame being in the Big East, he got absolutely hammered and pounded night after night after night. Still put up numbers, still put up big rebounding totals, point totals, and was a guy that you just looked at and said, I don't think there was a player that was tougher than Pat Garrity during his collegiate career.
And you don't spend 10 years in the NBA by accident either. Behind the Nixon sophomore was a great pro.
Yes, you are.
All right, Tom Carolyn, thanks a lot. We've got to take another time out, but we're just getting started here on the program tonight. The women's basketball team, they cracked the top 5 this week. We'll have highlights from a couple of career nights right after this.